got some time. So anyways, all right, let's talk about this real quick. So this is a piece that I put together, and I'll talk about what I did and how I did it and what I was thinking as I put it together in a second. But first, I wanted to kind of give you this highlight about sort of a recap of my NFT journey so far. So, when I first found out about NFTs at the start of the year, I got really excited, like a lot of people, and I kind of jumped headlong into it, and I minted some stuff. So we did a stream the other day, if you remember. I'll bring this over, where I put out an auction, right, for two pieces that I made. So I made this one here, which was called Beginnings. They're just editions, like one-of-one editions for these things. And we did an auction for this one, and we did it for the other one as well. And they were pretty cool pieces. So you hear the audio. They're all, little animation loops. Loading a bit bad there. And so we used Ethereum to do it, right? Because that's what everybody was doing, and that's kind of where all the action was. And it seemed like I was just learning, right? That was the only thing I knew about at that point. And anyways, I made these two and posted them up. We saw a little bit of action. We did that auction, and it was cool. We had a few bids. If you come down here to the trading history, you can see we got a bid right there for 0.02 Ethereum. And we finished up that auction, and I decided I would sell the pieces to the highest bidders no matter what. And so this highest bid of 0.02, that's about like 45. It was like 45 US, I think, dollars. And I was happy enough with that. I thought, cool, 45 bucks, we can make this work. So I went to sell it, or accept the offer, and I'd forgotten that I would have to pay the gas fee, right, for receiving that money. So to get money into my wallet, I actually had to pay a fee for that transfer, right, because of the way the blockchain works, because people have to process the transfer all over the place. So that costs something for them to do it, and that's the payment to make it happen. Anyways, to accept a payment of $45 for this piece, I was going to have to pay $56, right? Which was stupid. and then I was going to have to then transfer that to my other wallet where I could actually convert it into my Australian currency. And that was going to cost me another 56, roughly 56, 60 Australian dollars. So I was going to be out of pocket by like 70 bucks all up in order to sell this to somebody, which was, we weren't going to do that. So I was a bit bummed. And I think a lot of people have kind of gone through this little process of learning about how blockchain works. And anyways, but another interesting thing that happens, I got a lot of, not a lot, but I did get some negative feedback. So I got some people posting comments about, hey, you're killing the planet, man. Like, what are you doing getting behind this whole NFT nonsense? You should drop it. Or accusations of participating in a pyramid scheme. There's a couple of like key arguments that pop up a lot. So anyways, I started getting on these comments on YouTube about it, and I hadn't really thought about those things. I hadn't really thought about the environmental impact of the blockchain or NFTs. And so I was really encouraged to, I guess, do some research. So I started looking into it and did a bunch of research, a bunch of deep dives into this, and actually came across some really interesting stuff. So one of the things that I learned was that, so the blockchain does actually use up a ton of power, right? So Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff, they're built on a model where people have to compete in order to mine the blockchain. So, and by mining, I mean they get to write the next entry in the ledger. So if you're totally confused by all this and you don't have any understanding of what the blockchain is, like the simplest explanation that I can give is imagine a spreadsheet that's on like hundreds of thousands of computers all across the world. And these computers aren't owned by a company like Google, so they're not all in one place. These are just individuals that have, this spreadsheet on their computer all across the world. And every time you want to do something on this ledger, your transaction kind of goes into this big pool, and all of those hundreds of thousands of computers compete to get to be the next person to write the next entry in the ledger. And whoever wins that gets to write that entry, but it writes in not just their spreadsheet, but on everybody's spreadsheet at the same time, right? So this one spreadsheet is unified across all these machines, and it's the same. And so if there's one that's different, it's like you can tell that one's not right. That's not a part of the blockchain. And so it's a really secure method of doing things. But that process of competition to get to write the next entry, that's called mining. So when you're like Bitcoin mining, you're competing to write the next entry in the ledger. And that competition requires a lot of power, right? So you got to use a lot of GPUs. The more GPUs you have, the more chance you've got of being able to solve. There's a little like a simple puzzle cryptographic puzzle that has to be solved by the computer. It has to run through like hundreds of thousands of iterations of this thing to find the correct one, and the first one to do it gets to write for it. That's my basic understanding. I could be a little bit wrong, but at least it gets you in the right direction, understanding how this stuff works. And that uses up a ton of electricity, right? Because there's these huge mining operations where you've got these people with like hundreds of thousands of GPUs, like just burning through electricity, trying to make as much money as they can mining Bitcoin or Ethereum. And that model is called proof of work, because you're demonstrating, you're doing the work. Your computer is working to solve the code, and whoever solves it has done the most work to solve it, and so they get the right to write the entry. So it's called proof of work. It's very expensive, and it has a big impact on the environment. Now, it is important to put that in context, right? So if you were to compare, like this pie graph I've seen where it shows all the different sections, all the different like sort of industries and things that are using power and making greenhouse gas, right, on the planet. And the blockchain is like this super tiny sliver in the context of everything, right? So in the context of industry, and it's not big compared to other things, right? But that doesn't matter. That doesn't excuse it, right? It's still a problem, right? Because it's growing, it's becoming a bigger deal. More people are getting interested in the blockchains, so it's important to deal with. Anyways, long story short, the other thing that that's going on is there's this other model, right? It's called proof of stake, right? And it's a different way of competing to get to write the next entry. And I don't fully understand it, but I'm still reading about it and trying to wrap my head in a way so that I could actually explain it. And I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. But it has to do with like pooling groups of people and people putting skin in the game. So they're actually putting a bit of their own money forward to have the right to get to be randomly picked to write the next entry. That's kind of how it works. So it kind of eliminates this competition based on the number of GPUs you have. Anyway, so it uses a lot less power. So it creates a lot less greenhouse gas. And so if blockchain really does become something that everyone uses on a large scale globally, eventually in the future, then if we're using that kind of a model, then it's not going to be the huge electricity sink that it would be if it continues on, like the way Ethereum and Bitcoin are built at the moment. So another thing that's really interesting that I've learned about it is that the transactions are they're really expensive because of that model. So that's why Ethereum, like if I wanted to, like when I first set up my wallet for Ethereum, I had to buy some Ethereum in order to get set up and do that. So I bought some Ethereum, but then I had to transfer. You have to think about it this way, right? You've got like when you're at the airport and there's a currency exchange booth, and you go up to it and you're like, hey, I want to buy some euros, or I want to buy some pounds or some yen. And so you make that purchase, you use your money and you buy some of the currency, and there's an exchange rate and there's a little fee and stuff, and you have that currency now. But then you can't like leave that currency at that exchange booth, right? And then go to a shop and buy something, right? Because you've left the money at the booth, right? So you have to take that money from the exchange person, you got to put it in your wallet, and then you walk to the shop, you take the money out of your wallet and you buy something. So in blockchains, it works the same way. You go to an exchange, right? And you buy the coin that you want. So in my case, I bought some Ethereum. And then I had to put that Ethereum into my wallet. And that's a transfer. I had to transfer it from the place where I purchased it into the wallet that I was using. And there's lots of online wallets. And a wallet is like just a digital space that you can store these cryptocurrencies. So I transferred it over, right? And so it was in the wallet. And then I was able to then interact with OpenSea. But that transfer of like moving it from the exchange into my wallet, it costs about $60, right? With Ethereum, because of this model, all these computers competing, right? It's because there's more competition. The more people that are using it, the more expensive it gets. So that's a big issue, right? And it also means that you can't really make small transactions. You got to make big transactions, So it makes sense for these people that are selling pieces of art for millions of dollars, right? Because $60 is no big deal. But for everybody else, that are interested in this technology and these ideas, it's kind of irrelevant, because like no one's going to buy my stuff for thousands of dollars. So, I mean, not yet, maybe one day. That'd be cool. But it's not justifiable. It doesn't make sense, those fees. Big preamble. So all that to say is I've been on a big journey learning about this now, and I found this Discord called Clean NFTs, and I I started to read up about clean NFTs, and the idea behind a clean NFT is it's an NFT that uses a blockchain that doesn't use this proof of work model. It uses proof of stake or another model that's, doesn't take up all the electricity that these other ones are using, and it's a much lower impact. So that right there is really interesting and exciting. And there's a lot of different blockchains out there being used, and there's a lot of platforms being used that are built on those different blockchains. So, okay. Hope you're still with me. Hope you're understanding this a little bit. And I'm not losing you. Hello, everybody. By the way, I can see you in chat. I know I'm not like talking to you. I will soon though. But anyways, hi Arturo. Big shout out to Arturo. He's helped me a lot understand this in the over in the Blender Nest Discord, which is open for all now. So go check that out. Shout out to Blender Nest. Anyways, so okay. Long story short. So this is what then led me to the next thing. So take this out of here. Pull this up. All right, so this is all right, here we go. I'm gonna try and say it. Hic et Nook. I'm not good at Latin, so I can't really tell you. This is the website. hen is the abbreviation that I've seen people throw around. So this is a really cool site. This site right here is an NFT sort of minting platform and trading site, right? Arturo says nailed it. Great, thanks. I got the pronunciation right. Let me just show you this. So I'll just load up the front page. We'll see. Hopefully, actually, let me load it over here because I'm gonna make sure YouTube doesn't block me if we get like nudity or something pop up. Okay, so all right, these first three are safe. So okay, so this is the site, right? And you just scroll through and you can just see people's art, right? And they just pop up. And there's like no way to search on this site. It's kind of obtuse. At first I was really put off by it. I thought, this is lame. Like I can't like figure out what like the, people have been doing. I can't figure out what's sold, what hasn't sold, like what's going on. But the more I scrolled through this stuff, the more I was blown away at the quality of the work. I don't know if these three are your thing. You may not be into this, but there's some amazing stuff. If you go to this website and start scrolling through it. And every piece of art here is an NFT that's been minted on the Tezos blockchain, okay? So what's Tezos? Tezos is just another cryptocurrency, right? So you've got Ethereum, you've got Bitcoin, you've got all these different, and they're all basically the same technological idea, but they're all developed in different ways and they have different features. And this one is really cool because Tezos is, first of all, it's not sucking up tons of electricity, right? So it's a really great thing in terms of if it grows, it's a much more sustainable thing for us technologically, right? And it means too is if you're an artist and you're like me, you're sensitive about what you're doing to the environment. You don't feel terrible about making art and selling it online. So just to give you a comparison, right? I'll go back to my stuff here. So this is a piece I minted the other day, right? And this piece right here, it's called Foraging for Light. I minted this thing and I put it up and it cost me, so to do the same thing, I bought the Tezos at the little exchange booth, not at an airport, but online. And then I transferred it over to my Tezos wallet and that cost me, it was like 7 cents, I think. That's all it cost. Like that was it. Compare that to $60, forget it. Like this is great. Same thing here. If I was to sell one of these pieces to accept that transaction, it's like a cent, I think, to like pay for that transaction. I could be a bit wrong, and it changes all the time because of the exchange rates and stuff. But you're getting the idea. It's like, man, this is way more sustainable, way more interesting. So, anyways, this opens up a lot of cool possibilities. So I put this together, and I've put 5 up for sale. I've only made 5, and they're all for sale for 5 Tezos, which is do the exchange. So one Tezos is like at the moment it's like $7.25 US. So what is that? $36. There you go. So $36. And that's the kind of prices you see on this site too. It's not like the crazy, $6,000 for a piece of art. Not that that stuff's not worth that. Like these are incredible artists that have, I don't know. It some of this art does feel justifiable in terms of its price, but it's just a really cool platform. This one, I really recommend it. I recommend you check it out. And what's really cool is there's a fantastic Discord community. So there's just people jumping into this thing and showing off their stuff and just some really inspiring work. So I thought it'd be fun to mint one here live on the stream, just to kind of show you what it looks like. And yeah, and it hopefully kind of, I guess, demystify it a little bit for you. There's still a lot that feels confusing, and it is a process you have to really learn, as you're getting into it. So, anyway, so yeah, a couple of cool things going on in the in chat. Yeah, everybody's talking about how every time you hit render, you're taking up electricity. It's true. Like our cycles rendering is, it's definitely expensive, but not comparable to like, a gigantic crypto mining facility that's got, I guess it's the same as like a render farm. So I don't know. Anyways, I don't have the answers to this stuff. Artur's got a fun code here. I heard someone say that unless you have a toilet that composts, if you're crying about NFTs and the environmental impact, you're full of beep. This is a family-friendly stream. Thanks for making it family-friendly. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit harsh. I think it's a bit harsh. I think that people that are crying about NFTs, it's coming from a genuine spot. Like, people are actually worried about the environment, and for good reason. And so I think it's good to step back and go, look, let's criticize this technology because it's taking off and people are really using it. I don't have a problem with that. I haven't had a problem with people criticizing me too in this process, because I think that's healthy. It's made, actually, I mean, the criticism I got is what motivated me to find this other stuff. Like, I'd still be minting on OpenSea and spending hundreds of dollars on fees and slowly, going bankrupt if it wasn't for that. So anyways, all right, so let me show you how to do this. I am going to, so this is the piece that I've made. I'm calling it Edge of the Universe. It's got some music, sound effects, lovely. So this is just a loop. It's a video that loops infinitely, and I've got the music and everything transitioning smoothly. It's something I've kind of been calling these microfilms, because I like them. They're like these little miniature film that evokes some kind of meaning. And so for this piece, for me, what it's about, I'll let it actually keep playing in the background so you can enjoy the music while I talk about what it's about. Just turn it down. So yeah, so for me, what this thing is about is so this image for me is the edge of the universe. It's like it's the idea of, how light travels. We can only see so far, right, to the edge of the universe. But you can only, guess. There's this sort of place where the universe is expanding, right? And we can't see beyond that point, right? Because the light, it's impossible for it to travel that far. And this is an image for me of like just a creative interpretation of what's beyond that. And the idea behind the piece was to make something that kind of, I don't know, evoked for me that, when you don't know what's possible, when you don't know what could happen, or you don't understand something about your reality or about your life or about who you are as a person, it's like this black wall you can't see past, just like the edge of the universe. But taking a moment to visualize what's beyond that can be really empowering. And so that's what this is. This is a visualization of what's beyond it. That's why it's this really like moody, kind of dark image, right? But I've put this really uplifting and positive music behind it. And that's because this is an uplifting and positive concept. And I like that contrast as well. I thought that was really powerful. So those are the things that we're going into this piece. Those are some of the ideas that I played with, and what it's really coming from. So that's why I really like it. So I think when you're thinking about making art, it's really cool to think about stuff like that, to try and think about a meaning. And I developed that meaning as I created this piece. So I was creating it, just kind of being spontaneous and having a fun time and exploring ideas. And as I created it, I began to see this stuff in it. And then I thought, oh, this is actually kind of what this means to me. And by the time I finished the piece, I had the meaning as well, because it's sort of, they all go hand in hand for me. So some people start with a meaning and then they carry it through. But for me, that was kind of how it developed. So yeah, this is rendered in Eevee. So this is an Eevee render. I've done a little bit of compositing. I'll show you the Blender file as well. We're going to walk through that. And I'll put the Blender file up on Patreon as well. So everybody on the Patreon, you can take this project file and take a look at it. Because that's one of the coolest things about NFTs. I can make this as an NFT, right? And it's mine. And then I can give you the project file and you can make your own renders and play around with it, look at it. And it doesn't change the fact that it doesn't devalue the NFT. It's cool. I mean, if one of you copy minted it and then posted it for yourself, I'd be really sad about that. So don't do that. But none of my patrons would do that. Anyways. All right, so let's put this in. Let's go ahead and submit this and set it up. So I'll show you how it works, and then we'll talk about I'll talk about how I did it all. So yeah, I'll tell you everything. Oreo, I'll show you the lighting and stuff, how I managed to pull it off. So all right. So I'm gonna go here. So I'm on Hin, and I'm gonna just come up here. You have to sync up with your own wallet. So I've done that already. I'm using the Temple wallet, which when you first come and you click this, it'll pop up like with what's your wallet, and then you can go set it up. It's pretty easy to do. So then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna come here to Object Mint, and I get this nice little setup where I can go through and fill out all the information. So I've written it all up. I'll bring it up here. So I've got the title of this piece is Edge of the Universe. My description is what lies beyond the horizon of what we know. Date. And then I've got my tags. Tags are pretty, like you can't even like search them. It's sort of just stuff that you can add on, like metadata that you can attach. I assume one day I'll be able to search this stuff, but anyways, I've been putting art. I'm calling this a microfilm. I've done this in Blender. I've rendered it with Eevee. It's got music, sound effects, it's looping, and I put my tag there just as like a signature. I'm gonna make, I don't know, what do you guys think, chat? How many should we make of this? 5, 10, 5 or 10? Let me know in chat. Tell me what you think. I'm gonna click upload the object. Go get it. There it is. Boom. Let's see. Yeah, I did. I used some compositing nodes to do that lens distortion. So in Blender. So everything in that was done in Blender. So no After Effects, no compositing. It's pretty cool. All right, I'll make 5 of these. So editions 5 is just how many copies of this thing that you're going to create. So this is, I'm going to create 5. Royalties, so this is if anybody goes on to sell it. So if someone was to buy one of these and then sell it on to someone else, I would get a royalty based on this. So you can go, yeah, anywhere between 10 and 25. I'll put 10. So 10% of whatever sale would happen would come back to me. So, and that's it. So there we go. So we filled out all the info. So now we can click preview. And this is not where we set the, we don't set the price here yet, but anyways. So we go preview, pulls up here. You can hear the audio. It's working. Looks nice. All the info is ready to go. Vonky wait, can you add music in Blender? It says, I'm such a noob. Sorry, man. It's okay. Noobs are fine. Everyone's a noob. Yes, you can. I didn't actually. I should have said that. I didn't add the music in Blender. I did that in Premiere, but I could have added it in Blender. It's pretty cool. So, see you, Dapper Dino. Thanks for joining. All right. So, anyways, we've set all this stuff up, and now we're going to mint 5 of these objects. Do you want to do 5? Yeah, 5. 5's good. We don't do more than 5. So now it prepares. Well, let's see if I get an error. I don't know if there's any file size limits on this. I've kept it pretty small. It's only like 25 meg, so it's going to upload and do all that stuff. So it might take a few minutes. So, anyways, I'll get rid of this. So this is exciting because it means that it's just a lot more easier now to manage these things, and it's a lot more accessible to experiment in this space and put things together. So I think this overall is really positive. I think it's really exciting, and I think it's going to grow. And there's a lot of things coming. Like I know Ethereum, they talk about Ethereum 2.0. They're going to change the way they're doing things and switch over to this proof of stake model. But there's no date on that, and there's no idea when that will actually happen. So it's sort of, believe it when you see it kind of a thing. So that could be interesting. If Ethereum switches, it means all those gas fees are going to drop right down to something similar to like what we're experiencing here with Tezos. Yeah, anyways, I'll let that go while that cooks, while it prepares the object. Stick that off to the side. I'll open up the Blender file, and let's talk about what we did here in Blender. So this is the scene file. And got a lot of stuff going on here. So the lighting, go ahead and turn on rendered view. This is what it looks like in Blender. So you can see it's all happening right here. This looks pretty much like what you saw in the piece itself. All I've got is a single sun lamp lighting this scene. So what I've got is, let's see, I'll show you, walk through we'll walk through each element on its own first. So this ground area that I've got is pretty cool. That's what it looks like if I pull out. It's kind of a messy looking scene. This ground is being used. Hang on. Here we go. I can confirm my operation. Let's see. I don't think I've got anything private here. So, okay, this is just the thing. It's asking me to confirm it. And say it's going to cost it's 54 cents. There you go. So I'm going to confirm. I'm going to spend 54 cents. That's US cents, by the way. That was the Temple wallet. You install it as like an extension in Chrome. That's how I did it there. And it pops up like a little pop-up window. All right, it's continuing to prepare. So stick that over there. Back to this. All right, so I've got this right here. So it's basically just a plane with 2 subdivision surfaces and a displacement. So if I just turn them off, you can see that's all it is. The first subdivision surface just creates some extra geometry for me. I've got it set to simple and it's turned up to 7. Fun fact, you can go beyond 6 with your subdivision surfaces. I don't know if you noticed that. You can type it in. You can go any number you want. Anyways, displacement. So the displacement texture is this. I've just used some Voronoi. I've set it to actual distance and just messed around with these values a little bit. And I've pumped up the contrast a little bit, I think. Nope, I didn't even pump the contrast. So just left it like that. So that's what's happening with that. And then I've just got it set to a strength of 2.4. So it's not too strong. And then we've got another subdivision surface on that, and that just smooths it out a little bit. So let me turn off wireframe mode. And yeah, so that's what's going on here. And just finished over here. So so when it finishes, by the way, okay, so back to back to this way, the website that we're looking at. When it finishes, it goes back to the main screen and shows the other people's art. So if I go back to manage my assets, come back to my little page, it will load. There it is. So now I've got my 2 creations. I can go into this and have a look at it, make sure everything stacks up. Yep, we got our audio. Looks good. It's got all the info. Perfect. And right now you can see it says editions X of 5, and it says not for sale. So at the moment it's not for sale. No one can buy this, but this is how we put it up for sale. What we do on this particular site, you come over to swap, and we're going to say how many we're going to do. So object amount and price per object. So this first one is how many do you want to sell? So I'm going to sell 5 of these because I've made 5. And price per object, I'll go with 5 Tezos. Sounds fine. So again, trying to sell something for $36 might sound a bit extreme, but just trying to figure this out. I could sell it for 1, I guess. What is that? $7.36. But I took a lot of time to make this, so this is a couple of days of me doing it. So I'm happy with that. That's what I think it's worth. And then what you do is you click swap it. So click that. Now it generates the swap, and again, it's going to ask me to pay a fee and confirm it. So all I got to do now is, again, so this now is going to cost me so 31 cents, and the gas fee is 8 cents. So again, so 39 cents. So all up, like we've spent probably, what was it? What was the other one? It was like 50 cents, I think. So it's probably spent about 90 cents, I think, to make this and sell 5. So I'm going to click confirm. Does its thing. Now it was trying to sit here and it doesn't really change or update, but if I go back to my main screen here now. And I click on this. Oh, it takes a little bit of time. It'll continue to say, so it says, still says not for sale, editions X of 5. This will update as soon as that transaction gets written to the blockchain. So that can take a little bit of time. I'm pretty sure it doesn't like refresh live and update here. So I'll just come back to that in a moment. So I'll put this off here. All right, so back to the breakdown. So, and feel free to throw any questions in chat too. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer. The sphere itself is just a sphere. So the magic of that, it's all happening just with its material. And then these guys are actually the same as this, but I brought them around and I just scaled them up on the Z so they get really big. And I've just kind of scattered them out. So I've got these, and they're at just different distances to create a sense of space so that the fog kind of builds up. So now let me show you this material that I've got. So I'm going to bring this over here. So it's the same material in all the rock formations. And the way it works, just focus here on it. Switch to render view. We basically have a really simple rock texture. So it's just like a gray color. I've got my metallic turned off. Specular is at 0.4. Roughness is at 0.3. And I've got my sheen tint that's just left all that the same. The main thing here is just I've brought this roughness down a little bit and I've given it a gray color. It's got a bump. The strength is turned down a little bit and it's just a noise bump. So I've got some detail and some roughness in there, and that's about it. Now this cool it's sort of like lava, but it's not really because it's just like on the surface. That is being created by this semi-complex system. So technically it's just this Voronoi texture. All right, so I'll mute this. Let it update. There we go. So this is what it looks like just by itself. So this is just the Voronoi. I've got it set to 40, smooth F1, and Euclidean, and we've got a scale of 5.2. So it's like a small scale, so that the size of this stuff's really large, right? You can see this. It just makes these really long, kind of snaky lines. Now, see you, Tezos, thanks for joining. This is being plugged into this color ramp, and the color ramp it's got set to constant, and I've got a black node and a red node pretty much right on top of each other. If you look at the position value when I click them, you see it changes to 0.527 to 0.528. So that's how that works. Thanks, Lanfear. Appreciate the good luck. So what that does is it clamps it down, and that gives me just a thin line. So it converts that Voronoi texture into just a thin glowing line. And then what I've done is I've introduced some noise. So I brought in here a texture coordinate node into the mapping node, and I've animated the X value. So it's moving this noise sort of down or towards the camera. I've also animated the W, which is evolving the noise. And then I've taken this noise texture and I've popped it in to this mix node. And I've mixed it in by just about 0.047. And what that does is that creates this breakup of that line, right? So you can see the difference of what this node's doing. So it's creating that mess, sort of that scattering effect. So if I jump back into my camera, you can see what it looks like here. So I've just moved these around until I've gotten lines that make the composition feel good to me. And again, this is the same material in all these. Now the sphere has a different material on it. It's pretty simple. It's just a Voronoi that's been crushed right down with a color ramp. I do have a bump on it, and you can see it a little bit like in the here on the side when the light catches it, and it's just a simple noise bump. And that's all that's going on there. So then the rest of the magic is really coming from, if I go to my world shader, right here. So I've used a volume scatter node set to 0.04 and an anisotropy of -0.3. So anisotropy, what it does is it focuses, when you have fog, right, it focuses that density of that fog around your lights. Whereas the closer you get to 0 with anisotropy, it spreads it out and sort of diffuses the light through the smoke. So that's where you're able to get these kind of God rays that kind of come through here. And I've got this lamp. If we just have a look at where the sun lamp is. Turn all this stuff on. Where is it? Here it is. So the sun lamp is positioned kind of just off. Remember, sun lamps doesn't matter where it's positioned. It's just all about the rotation because it's an infinite light. So the angle is all that matters with this. So you can see the angle's kind of just off to the side here. It's pointing pretty much right at the camera. So it's backlighting my entire scene, which creates that nice fog that kind of hits it. It lights up the fog behind the objects and causes those rays to be cast. So this ray here being cast around it. And then the rest of this is just kind of being the lights coming from the actual emission of the shader. So those are all the different things that are layered up into this that's making this image work. So it's a really cool thing. It's pretty cool. I'll put it up on the Patreon for everybody that are on the second tier and up. So you guys can have a play with this project file as well for yourself. All right, let's have a look back over here at the site, see if things have updated. Here we go. So now you can see it says editions 5 of 5, collect for 5 Tezos. So I can collect this now. If I click this, it would allow me to purchase 1 copy, and so I can make a collection out of this. So at the moment, you can see it all lives underneath mine here. And if I go to collectors, this is where you can see who's collected it. So right now there's 5 copies of this owned by this. This is my, everybody gets a string of letters and numbers that represents you on the blockchain. So this represents me right here. So that's pretty much it. So that's how it works. So that's how you can start your own little art gallery of your own stuff using Tezos and HicDuckDunk and put stuff up for sale. Now, it's really good to get an expectation that, you know, don't do this to make money, right? Oh, that sounds bad. I don't mean it like that. Just do this. Try and approach this for the love of doing it, for the love of the art and for the love of being involved in some new technology. And I'm just saying that, I guess, because it's really tough to get found, right? You know, I've got a sizable YouTube channel and I've never sold anything with these things. But, you know, I'm doing it because I'm excited by it, and I'm enjoying the process of learning, and I'm enjoying sharing it with you. But also, like, I don't know, it's been really inspiring for me seeing all these people make art and being able to connect to it like this. It's just very cool. And it's something that's really motivating for me. It's really gotten me back into this habit of creating stuff, you know, not just for YouTube views, but to actually just create something to say something. And that's just been so cool. So I think it's pretty exciting. So I'd encourage you to check it out. Check out this site and have a look at some of the stuff here. You'll find some really amazing things. Check out their Discord, join that. And yeah, hopefully you'll find that really helpful. I hope you found this helpful and enjoyable and exciting and fun. And yeah, if you want to check out the project file, feel free to head over to Patreon. You can join up there and get a hold of it. This video, I won't make private. I'm going to put this out for everybody so that everybody can see it. I'll keep it as this live stream. I won't really edit it up a whole lot. Yeah, hopefully you will find this helpful in your own journey of creating stuff. I hope you find this more empowering than maybe the Ethereum stuff has been. I know that was kind of disappointing as we went through that here on this channel. But yeah, I think there's a lot more potential in this direction, and it's pretty exciting. So anyways, thanks for checking this out, and thanks for joining me. I'll catch you in the next stream. See ya.